First thing I want to talk about, Joshua, is your stance width. Okay? In the game of football, we really have four basic elements: balance, leverage, power, and mobility. All of that dictates that you need your feet up and under you to have those four components and be the complete athlete, okay? In a normal football stance, you're going to want your feet to be a little wider than the shoulders. We talk about that stable base from which you can be leveraged, powerful, and all those things. Snapping stance, you probably want 4 to 6, and in extreme cases, maybe 8 inches wider than your normal stance. You simply need more room between the legs to make an unrestricted throw down and through. Okay? Coming into camp, in your case, we thought you were a bit too wide, and I'm exaggerating here for effect, okay? The wider you get, some big problems can develop. Number one, it becomes harder to sit down into the stance, which means your center of gravity creeps ever higher. Number two, when you do sit in, whatever you manage to achieve sitting in, you're going to create a lot of tension and pressure in the hip flexors. That will tighten you up, slow you down, weaken the snap. Number three, it's harder to balance. Number four, no matter what leg motion energy, no matter what lower body energy you generate in the snap, it's going to be almost impossible to channel it into accelerating the football towards your target. Last thing is you're going to lack mobility after the snap. You're going to get beat, whether it's covering the field or blocking. And the wider and wider you get, the more likely you are to finish with locked out knees, and that is the quickest path to a short career I know in the game of football. So we need to get those feet up under you a little bit. I want you to try a couple things in the process, which is rotating the heels inward. First of all, that's going to give you a real stable base right on the balls of the feet. It's going to really facilitate that channeling of lower body motion energy back into the hips where we can capture it and use it towards accelerating the ball to target. Okay? The second thing is it's going to point the knees out a little bit, just giving you a little more operating room. The other thing I want you to try is when you sit down, shove those knees out over the toes. That's going to maximize the space you have between the legs without necessarily getting the feet too wide. Go ahead and set up. Let's document what that's looking like now, because we made the corrections yesterday. Facing the camera. Go ahead and set up. Important things that we see is we want to see those knees slightly wider than the shoulders, indicating we have plenty of room. The load bearing of the body weight should be on the quads, which is number one, the most comfortable, and number two, the most potentially explosive position from which to begin. And importantly, no pressure in the hip flexors. How does that feel? Up in there? Okay. Do me a favor, stand up real quickly. Let's try a couple things. Sit down, push the knees out, and then sit to a point where you feel like it's right on the quads. Better? Okay. Now what you're doing to try and make it feel better is you're shifting your weight forward. I got a better way. Get back here, unbend your knees a little bit. You're a little too deep anyway. Now relax it down. Relax it down to the point where it feels solid. Does that feel good? That's the better solution because it's going to enable you to stay balanced, okay? Go ahead and step over here. I'll tell you what else we need to work on. Huh? Yeah, I would guess. We've snapped a lot of footballs in the last day and a half. The other things we had coming into camp. Number one, you were overextended downfield. You had the ball too far out in front of you. That tends to pull too much weight forward in your stance, okay? What you're doing to counterbalance that is you're shoving the weight back into the hips and ending up flat-footed. You're overstretched on the field. Flat-footed wins no battles on the football field. Number two, when you're flat-footed, your leg drive tends to be pretty much just straight up and down vertical. Whereas to capture that lower body motion energy, we need it off of vertical. Colin, I'm right here filming. You're going to have to go down there. Folks, you're going to have to go down there. Huh? Okay, but maybe move it down there. It would just be better. It needs to be about 10 to 20 degrees off vertical so it can end up in the hips where it converges and combines with the energy traveling down the spine in that arrow point, directing all the energy towards our target, where the football is going to go, okay? Last thing is you're falling forward at the finish because you started out with a weight forward bias. And being flat-footed, you're kind of coming up and your feet are coming out from under you, okay? We need you driving, kind of like dodging an inside pitch, off the balls of the feet, back into those hips. There's a few ways I can help you do that, but I imagine the hill should have been the best cure of anything. Did it help you a lot? Did it feel good? Okay. That right there can do more to make you an excellent snapper than just about anything you can do. You know the disclaimers. Use a spotter, wear cleats, never snap on a wet hill. You want to be extra special, safe, and cautious, wear a helmet and shoulder pads to boot. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring you on. We're gonna do some manipulation here and see if we can get you snapping just a-okay. Darby, after this snap, do me a favor, grab a second ball. Second ball after the snap. Okay. You ready? Okay, we're going to three-step you. First thing I do is pull you forward. Go ahead and lean on the ball. That gets knee bend to 90 or less, straightens the back, fully extends the arms. Then I'm going to raise you up maximizing operating room under your torso. When you get your helmet and pads on, you're going to appreciate that space. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shove you back into the hips towards your target. Notice it's not down to the ground where you'd get too deep, but it's back towards your target. The heels touch the ground, knees are over the toes. You're solid on your feet. And I got you kind of wigged out at this point. Why don't we get a snap in before you're down too long? Okay. Not bad, that's okay. Next drill you're going to do this morning is teach you how to never throw high. So I'm not overly concerned about that right now. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, I want to three-step you one more time, but more quickly. You ready? Yes, sir. Pull you forward, raise you up, push you back and in a little too deep, push against my hand, push against my hand. Now relax. That's where I think you ought to be. That's a real athletic, really good-looking stance. Don't get lazy with dropping the front end down. Keep that head and shoulders up. Tuck your chin down to see what you need to see. Go ahead. Now, what's wrong with that? That was a flash of brilliance. That looked excellent. Do me a favor, too, while we're doing these, hold that finish. You always want to train for muscle memory, so when you get in the heat of battle, a lot of things just happen for you. Okay? All right. So how did we do that without three-stepping? You were coming in, you were overextended downfield, shoving back to get a little too deep and flat-footed, and you really dip your head way down. Now, this front end, north of the belly button, from the top of your cranium to the belly button, longer, lighter front end needs to be well extended to counterbalance the shorter, heavier haunches. When you go ahead and stand up. When you dip the head down, you just chopped off 25% of your front end to counterbalance the rear. We need to bring those neck vertebrae in line with the rest of the back, the spine. You can either pull the head up, but that's going to tend a lot of times to create tension. The better way is when you're sitting up, instead of dipping your head down, tuck your chin to your chest, and then lower it just as much as is necessary to feel comfortable and see your target. Okay? Now I'm going to help you get that energy straight back into the hips by giving you a little shoulder shove this time, okay? You ready? Okay, so you were overextended, you were flat-footed. We raised your head and shoulders higher off the ground, which brought you vertically a little further from the ball, allowing you to bring the ball a little closer while preserving good arm extension. Okay. Then we unbent the knees a little and moved the weight around until we had the knees right over the toes for optimum balance. Now, do you feel well extended? You can always put it out a little as long as it doesn't pull your weight forward. You see that? Okay, go ahead. Feel that? Where'd the ball go? Straight to target. A perfect setup will lead to a perfect snap because energies will travel where they need to be. They'll converge in an arrow point, and wherever that arrow point is aimed, that's where the ball's going to go. Let's do one more snap. TJ Wouters. Okay. And hold that follow through. Let's train for good habits, okay? All right. Now, lift the ball off the ground. No, just stay in your stance. Lift the ball off the ground. Shift your weight to get balanced. Okay. Now you're a little flat-footed, though. Tiny bit too much. There you go. The hill will help you perfect that better than anything, Josh. Go ahead. Excellent. You're so falling over. Let's fix that one more time. Yeah. And that's fine, except if you're falling over before you finish the snap, you're never going to be as powerful or accurate as you could be. Part of your energy is just going wacky, and you're not going to be as controlled.
Can I do it one more time?
Yeah, we're going to do it. I'm going to take one finger and get you balanced. Once you're set, let me know. Sit into it a little more. I'm going to just shove the weight to get you balanced. Quick and aggressive motion. Throw hard. Excellent. Okay. Now, also, don't get in the habit of popping up at the waist at the end. That'll shift your weight onto your heels because the center of gravity will roll backwards. Finish that snap. Break down. Whether you cover, you're in a better position football-wise with a lower center of gravity. Do you have any questions? Okay. Do me a favor. Throw hard. Throw harder. Especially today. Let's break through to that next level because with the right form and technique, you can be as aggressive snapping a football as you would be firing out to block or tackle an opponent or girlfriend. Okay? Good job. Let's go ahead and rotate. Let's keep that head down. Let's not hop off the ground. Feeling comfortable with the recommendations? Okay. Feeling comfortable? A little better arm extension. A little better balance. Nice quick down and through. Don't pop that head up. Excellent. Outstanding. You're doing something. Yeah, getting the elbows through cleanly is allowing the entire throw to be made and capture all the acceleration on the ball. Outstanding.